Good afternoon and welcome to the Church of Cab Chat.
You've found Cab Chat, the show for London's taxi drivers.
Welcome to Cab Chat with me and him. Him being Mac the Cab and me being Super Cabby. Back again.
Couldn't stay away from the place.
No, couldn't stay away from the place. So we've decided, haven't we? We've decided that now we wasn't going to do it every couple of weeks. But you said every week, didn't you?
Yeah, every week.
So you said it, so...
well, I've got to do it, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to do it. Even when I'm not around, you're going to have to do it.
I don't mind, done it before.
Yeah?
No big...
But you're going to do it on your own, though?
No.
Who are you going to get in?
The problem is I'd have to do voices, wouldn't I? I'd have to have me pretending someone else is here as well.
So, who are you going to get in when I go on holiday?
Probably the same bloke you're going to get in when I go on holiday.
I don't get anyone in. I just sit here on my own and talk to myself.
I don't know. I might go and see Mick the Brit again.
I thought you was going to say Mick the Brit.
I do like Mick the Brit. He's
I
a
thought you was going to say Mick the Brit.
And the way he does his shows, I just enjoy to listen to, and he's so knowledgeable about obviously the cab trade, travel, America.
Yep.
And he'd be, I think, then probably Sean Paul Day, Holman Cab, Parker Cab. List I could just go down, couldn't I?
You mean you get Parker Cabby on the show?
Yeah, but listen, that's easy for you to say.
Yeah, all right.
Do you know? But,
sorry, John, I had to do it.
But we listen. I'm guilty of that as well. If you want to say something and it just don't come out right.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
And we all get tongue tied. That's not a problem.
And hopefully we sound a bit better this week because we've set the proper microphones up this week.
Set the old guard stuff up, dust it all down.
And it's all squeaking and rattling and buzzing and humming and all sorts of things, wasn't it?
Dusty sliders, I think they call that.
Dusty sliders. And well, coming up in this week's show, we've got a contribution from Dale's Diaries, one from Drumslayer.
Lovely.
That's all for this week. Dan at Plan is AWOL again.
He surfaced though.
He did show a picture of himself, and he does look a bit like a freedom fighter, doesn't he, with that beard?
I would say he looked more like Brian Blessing.
Yeah,
Brian Blessing, that's all I ever say.
He does look a bit like Brian Blessing, doesn't he?
God bless him.
He looks like a younger version of Brian Blessing, doesn't he?
Yeah, a lot younger. He's a character, Brian Blessing, in himself, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
But it was good to hear the old, because I'm back on the little stream of WhatsAppers.
Yeah, you're back on the WhatsApp group now after being absent for a couple of years.
Well, absent without leave.
Yeah,
I'm back, unfortunately. Yeah. Some people would say, but what can I say? I mean, it's the right time. I think it's the right time.
Yeah. It's definitely the right time. Especially we've decided we're going to do something that we was going to do before, wasn't we? And we did start doing it, but we didn't really follow it through. So we are going to be recording the show every Thursday around about...
now. But they don't know
now.
What...
You don't know when now is. But around about lunchtime, around about 12 o'clock every Thursday, we're going to be recording the show.
1 o'clock, yeah.
So what we've decided we're going to do is, rather than having a phone in...
Yeah,
we're going to phone out.
Yeah,
we're going to phone out to people. So
if we've got your number,
if we've got your number, we've got your number, son.
Yeah, even if you delete ours,
we've
still got yours.
We've still got yours, and we can get you. So, two things.
If you want us to phone you up, then send us a message and let us know,
and your phone number, obviously,
and who you are.
Yeah, and if you know us, and we know you. Be prepared to get a phone call because, and even if some people that don't really know us, that
I might just phone up, some car insurance or something.
Yeah, I mean, we phoned the LTDA, didn't we? And they didn't answer, did they?
No, I mean, or you can send in a request for who you want us to phone.
Yeah, we could phone anyone. We'll phone anybody. We've got no scruples. We'll phone anybody. We don't really care.
Yeah, because we've got no mates. We've got no one to talk to.
No one. We've got no mates.
No one listens to the show anymore.
That's right. Yeah. It's just our one listener, Chris Wheeler.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And we're sorry we took the piss out of you a little bit last week.
Yeah, listen.
That was Mac the Cab's fault.
It was mine. It was like, because the listeners, the thing is when we get these links in with people putting contributions to the show. They haven't got nothing. It's just, and we have to think like, what background music should we add to it to make it sound? And no disrespect, Chris. Obviously, love you dearly from when you come up to us, very humbling on one of the demos.
Yeah, it was outside City Hall, wasn't it? He came up
and he just
to us.
came up and said, "Oh, I listened to you," and it was wow. It was
And one thing I must point out is if you are listening to this on YouTube, you won't know about the music we've put behind what Chris said, because I'm going to explain something here. On YouTube, we can't use copyrighted music. So basically, when we record the show, we're actually recording it slightly differently to the way we used to. We're just recording it with just me and him talking, and then we add the music in later. But for it to put it on YouTube, basically, it's just going to be the chat. There's not going to be any music behind it. Yeah. So if you are watching on YouTube, there may be some music behind it, but not the music that's on Mixcloud. It'll be slightly different show, different show.
So what we're trying to say is, if you want to hear the full content of the show with the music, which is what
Mixcloud, you've got to go to the website, which is cabchatshow.uk. You can still go to cabchat.london, but we are thinking about dropping that domain name next year. I've renewed it for this year, but we are thinking about dropping it next year and just using cabchatshow.uk, because I think that says it all about the show anyway. Cabchat.london. We want to sort of spread our wings a little bit and get people involved from around the country as well. So we want to not so much lose the London connection, because at the end of the day, we're London cab drivers. So, but we'd like to get people involved from around the country as well, to see what's happening around the rest of the country.
Because it's a shared, similar, they're going through similar experiences.
So we if you want to listen to the full show with all the copyrighted music in, you need to go to the website and click on the Mixcloud player. What will happen in future episodes is the version that goes out in the podcast will be the same as the version that goes out on YouTube, with no copyrighted music.
Right, fine.
The only one that'll have all the copyrighted music and the full show will be the Mixcloud, because we're covered for the copyrighted music in Mixcloud.
Absolutely. So, obviously,
which means more work for me editing two shows.
Obviously, when we get calls in, obviously, if we, which we've had calls in from people from around the country. Obviously, in the case of places like Scotland and Ireland, obviously, subtitles will be available.
Yep.
For the hard of thinking, because some of the accents, you get the Falls Road Taxi Drivers Association phoning or something, and no one going, you got to understand here, we got a situation here, the problem, and obviously they always interject the word situation.
Yeah.
Anyone,
but also on YouTube you can add subtitles anyway. You can just click
I know,
the
but it's not always dead right.
No, but I'm not going to sit there and type subtitles. And if you want to sit there and type, listen, it'll be better than you seeing their time typing subtitles.
If I write subtitles,
no one will be able to understand it.
It will just be sub.
So you've been. We're going to give some shout outs later on as well, aren't we? Do you want to do the first one? Because you've been listening to. The other thing we said we're going to do in Cab Chat is mention, because as I've said before, there's a plethora of taxi related podcasts that have. Plethora.
I can't say it neither.
A plethora of taxi-related podcasts that have popped up. None of them ever equal us, because we're the originals, and we're like ancient.
Well, they're not out to mimic. Do you know what I mean? They're out to do what they want to do.
Oh yeah. And I don't know. A couple of them are out to mimic,
but no. It's this started. A couple of mates talking about the trade, which is good, and we encouraged others. As obviously in case of Rob, I am Cabman.
Well, it all started because I thought that the cab trade needed its own radio station, didn't I? And that didn't sort of really work, really.
No, well, he called us a Luddite, didn't he?
Yeah, we had a radio station.
But we were already doing broadcasts when he called us a Luddite.
Yeah, and he was already using Twitter and satellite navigation and satellite dispatch. And
that was Boris, our glorious leader.
Yeah. And he's in charge of the country.
In the news this week, he's been, mate. Yeah. And as Joe Holman said in one of the cab parody songs, which I've been listening to all week, forgetting how good they were and how topical they were at the time. As he says, like, keep his 30 bob.
Yeah.
His pence. You know what I mean? Absolutely. So
I think he needs an haircut. So do you, though.
So, don't look at, please. It's Thank God for these headphones.
Yeah, they're holding your ear together, isn't
Well,
they?
my hair's growing around the headphones.
It's like having a hairband on.
I know.
Like, you know them girls that have them bands over their heads?
The Croydon facelifts?
Yeah.
Where they had the heads.
Pulls the skin tight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So as I say, it was when we started Cab Chat, obviously, and we wanted to have other people other than just us, because otherwise it's boring.
Yeah, we are boring.
So we encouraged other people to come in. We didn't take ourselves too serious. We put our head above.
Still don't, do we?
Absolutely. We put our head above the parapet, and we expected to get shot down, and
we did.
And we don't care. We don't care. Listen, I've had people come through the doors with knives, mate. Lexus, I don't care. Yeah. What's a couple of words? Someone's
stones, mate.
Someone's tweeted. Please.
It's an easy thing to sort people like that out. It's called the block button.
Yeah.
You just block them, and you never ever hear from them again. It's bliss, absolute bliss.
I know, but I'm got no life, and I like to entrap them but anyway,
you like talking. It's actually someone to talk to, isn't it?
Listen, for me, it's therapy. It's therapy because I'm obviously talking to someone who's got worse problems than I've got.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
So
anyway, getting back to what we were talking about, you was going to give a shout out. There's loads of podcasts that come around, but a couple of some cab drivers are doing podcasts that are not to do with the cab trade,
which is fine,
which is great. It's great that we've inspired people to do podcasts. I think that's fantastic.
Or
they've listened to us and thought, I can do better than that. Or they've listened to us and thought, I'm bored with that crap and I'm going to do something different.
It ain't hard, is it?
Not really.
It ain't hard to top us.
No.
But listen, and one of them was, which I've been following. I follow loads of people on Twitter. You know what I mean? I might interject sometimes, just say something which is what I think's relevant or not, and I don't really care. But this guy I was following, and obviously Jeremy Slattery.
Jeremy Slattery.
There you go, because I'm terrible.
And what's the podcast called?
Well, do you know what? You'll have to go to his website. You have to go to his Twitter feed and find it. Because I'm
going to find it now.
Because I was going through various, catching up with what people have said and how the conversation went and where it finished and whatever. And on it, he says, my latest podcast. And I was, oh, wow, that's okay. Because you sort of like draw up in your imaginary mind's eye what these people look like or who they are or they're like. I told you I've got a boring existence. So I clicked on it.
So what's his Twitter username then? What's his Twitter username? Is it Slattersby or is it Jeremy Slattery?
Jeremy Slattery. Try Jeremy Slattery. Oh, my phone's going to go flat. Anyway, so what I was saying, so I was listening to, obviously...
Nothing's that one.
You ain't got some Bangkok type got off some. Yeah, we better put it out straight, right, because someone might end up going on the wrong one. And then...
you need to go and find it.
All right, well, hang on. Let's have a look.
Hang on, he's finding it. So, what the point being is that, there's cab drivers out there that have started doing podcasts that are not to do with the cab trade. And Mac the Cab started listening to one and found it really interesting.
Well, the reason being, that's the one there, Joe.
Slattersby. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what it was obviously just listening, just didn't know what it was going to be. And it's him and his brother. And they've done a couple of 3 or 4 of them. And it was pleasant and nice to listen to. And I just tweeted him, just, DM'd him. That's the best way to talk to anyone, really, if they're following you, following him. It's a great show. And that was it. So I thought it was very inspirational.
I'm just trying to find his podcast, actually.
Yeah, that's your part of the department.
You've listened to it and you can't even remember what it's called. That's
the thing with me is I'm very much that was the moment. Hang on.
He's trying to find it now. We're going to have to cut this piece out of the show.
Well, we can put there we go.
We can put an advert in. We ain't got no adverts. We've got no sponsor at the moment.
That's it. I shall click on the link. It's a podcast Apple thingy-majig.
Yeah. And what comes up?
That comes up when you go on it.
What? I can't see that.
That one.
Leaving your lockdown bunkers and how everything is politics. So what's the actual show called?
Yeah, it's a good question. I just went on his timeline. And
well, what we'll do later on in the show, we'll let you know what his podcast is actually called. But what was he actually talking about in the show then?
Just loads
It's apparently him and his brother, isn't it?
It's him and his brother, which
just
is
sitting there having a chat,
which is good. And they're just chatting, and well, I don't want to spoil it, but they talk about many subjects around what's happening, and it's not just from a cab driver's perspective.
So is his brother a cab driver as well? No? So his brother's not a cab driver, so he brings a perspective from outside of the cab trade.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, but he's a, from what you gather from these people, when you're listening to him, he makes reference to his family and stuff like that, doing stuff that blokes have to do while the wife's out working and stuff, and it's a good input, So, it's worth listening to. Well, I listen to it.
So what we'll do is we'll find out what his podcast is called, because Mac the Cab's absolutely useless. He just listens to things and don't know what they're called.
No, well,
we'll find out what it's called and we'll let you know later on in the show. I'll tell you what we're going to do now. We're going to go over and have a listen to Dow's Diaries.
And now this is from the other day, though, isn't it?
This is from last week, but no one knows that.
But she had her phone stolen.
She had her phone stolen, yeah. So, so her stuff's going to be a week behind all the time.
Until she catches up.
Yeah. She might end up having 2 bits in the show. So, until over to Dow, and we'll be back after this.
Hi everyone, how you doing out there? Welcome back to Dow's Diaries, part of Cab Chat. I hope you're all doing your best to look after your physical and mental health through these difficult times. I can't emphasise enough how it's so important to build up your natural immune system, and the plant-based diet, vegan, is full of fruit, veg, nuts, grains, lentils, etc. It's the only way to do it. You can make all your favourites like shepherd's pies, chilli, spag bowls, etc. because there are plant-based ones in all supermarkets now. You can literally get vegan, chicken kev, steaks, meatballs, mince, etc. Even our lovely Dropkick Rick, ex-butcher, made a lovely vegan chilli the other day with Linda McCartney's mince from Tesco freezer section, and it was gorgeous. Slowly but surely, people are choosing the healthier options. People overweight are more susceptible to getting coronavirus. Even change of milk. Myself and my kids, and even Dropkick, prefer the other milk, Oatly. That's our favourite one in all the shops. But do try them all. Let me know your favourite. There's coconut milk, cashew, oat, soya in all supermarkets, and they've got no cholesterol in them, and they're really healthier for you, and they taste lovely. So anyway, getting on to some work now. While we're on the subject of supermarkets, I have just left Asda. I've been there for a whole lockdown year. I'm now working for Farm Drop. It's closer to home, smaller van, nice organic food, etc. No Dartford crossing charge, and they pay a little bit more money too. The idea is I'm working between 6 a.m. in the morning till 2 p.m. and then I'm going to pop out in the taxi every day to see how it is. I think our time is coming back now, and when pubs, clubs, restaurants, theatres, etc. are open, I'll go back full-time cabbing. I've got to pay for my new electric taxi now, and I really am looking forward to working in my taxi full time again. I know a lot of cabbies I've met in my supermarket deliveries are not going back and are staying there, but for me, I'd rather be a cabbie any day. I love the freedom of it mainly, and that I can work whatever hours I want and hopefully earn what I want. I must give a big shout out to all you delivery drivers out there though. Total respect for you. They work really hard out there during this whole pandemic. The job ain't easy, and they had to protect themselves too. Talking of which, I was on my deliveries on Sunday in Hackney, Graham Road to be precise, with Farm Drop, and I parked my van right outside the man's house. I was bagging up the customer's shopping, and I put it on his doorstep. And I was right near my van. And then when I went back to the driver's door, it was open a little bit. And when I got in, my mobile phone and Farm Drop's mobile had been stolen. What a nightmare. My customer let me use his phone to tell Farm Drop, and thank And thank God, using my knowledge, I was able to get myself back to the depot in Enfield because I had no sat-nav. So on the way I saw a police car and reported it. So please don't leave your phone or anything in your cab, van or car. Whatever you do, take it with you. Lock up immediately, even if you're just standing next to it like I was. They really are picking on delivery drivers at the moment. So I ordered a new phone and a SIM, and I've kept my same number so you can still contact me. And everything automatically saves to the iCloud. So thank God I got all my pictures, photos and contacts. So all new phones now automatically go to the iCloud. So that's really, really good. So for the last 4 days, I've not been looking at my phone. No social media, etc. And you know what? It was lovely. I thought, it's only a phone. I'm still here. And it just made me really focus on me and my thoughts. Because our phones are a complete distraction and occupy all our time and thoughts. It brought me back to basics. I even started reading a book, which I highly recommend, called The Secret. A fellow cabbie recommended it to me years ago when he was diagnosed with cancer. And if you're listening out there, I hope you're okay, mate. So I've just started reading it and it's amazing. Very simple, really, but powerful. Basically, it's saying all our thoughts create our reality. What we think will happen. Think about it. When you really wanted something, you thought about it and you got it, yeah? Like your taxi, for example. Well, that can happen in all aspects of your life. Health, wealth, relationships, business, where you want to live, etc. So create some nice, good thoughts for yourself. Read The Secret and let's see what happens. Good luck to you all. Finally, another good bit of news is I was asked on social media to help deliver food to NHS key workers, vaccine centres and homeless centres by a lovely couple, Sujan and his wife, who have a beautiful Nepalese restaurant in Lewisham called Panas Gurkha. And they asked if I wanted to help deliver them in my taxi, so I jumped at it. And on my day off, I drove over to him. Oh, but first, I contacted a few of my contacts I know at ITV and BBC to see if any of them wanted to cover the story, and ITV did. So we met the ITV news reporter there, who filmed it all for us and came with us. We loaded up the food in my taxi, and he made it all vegan that day, all vegan curries, and I delivered free of charge, free food to all these centres. He has to date provided 100,000 meals during this whole lockdown year to help people. It's amazing, isn't it? I really enjoyed it, and to my surprise that night it was featured on ITV News as Lockdown Legends. How lovely was that? So you see, what you give out comes back as something nice. I've recorded it if you missed it, and you can see it on my YouTube channel. Just type in Dale Forward, DALEFORWOOD, and I've titled it Dale and Sujan Lockdown Legends. So that was really a lovely thing to do, and so just reach out and do anything you can in the community as well. It really makes you feel good. There's always people worse off than yourselves. So that's it for me for now. Keep well and safe out there, and most of all, keep positive. Onwards and upwards for 2021. Here we come. Lots of love. Take care, Dale. Bye.
You've found Cab Chat, the show for London's taxi drivers.
Well, there you go. That was Dal with her diaries, and you said something while I was listening to that.
She having a pop up.
What with her dietary?
No, I'm just saying.
I'll tell you what, it takes some convincing to turn a butcher to eating vegan food.
She's done well.
Yeah.
It's like having a big sister.
It is like having a big sister telling you off about what you're eating and that, isn't it? Yeah.
But through the lockdown and all that, I've been trying to eat more sense.
Yeah. I mean, we've just been had a nice pork sandwich.
Don't mention that. I wasn't gonna allude to our previous eating.
Our previous eating habits. Well,
Yeah.
I've lost weight. You've lost weight.
No, I know, but a lot more vegetables. Funny
And I've got to say, like, looking at the video that Dale done, it looks like she's lost weight as well. I mean,
yeah.
probably delivering food to the nation. It does keep you.
Well, it does
keep you fit.
Keeps you fit, keeps you trim.
Well, if you wasn't fit like me, then it makes you fit.
Absolutely. I've been eating so much vegetables and greenery stuff. Yeah.
You'd be telling us you turn vegan.
No. I've increased the input of that. I know now because I'm sort of like leaning towards the sun.
Yeah.
Because I've eaten so many greens, flowers, vegetables. No, don't worry. Wait, straight over. That's the best gaggle. I've been trying to work that in all week. No, but it's good to eat them down. And obviously, she's it's like a dual, double thing with. She's giving us health issues, and she's talking about the trade. Which
Definitely.
Good.
Talking of her YouTube channel, another person I want to mention who's doing really well on YouTube. Because I mentioned Ross last week, didn't I?
Yeah.
And he's Ross the trucking fat cabbie.
Love his droning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He seems to be able to get his drone up. I had a mine, and for some reason, and he's got the same drone as me, I think.
Yeah, but you've got different settings. You've got default settings and all that.
No, but I keep losing the signal on it, and I keep getting out to 120 metres and losing the signal on it.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's to do with all the Wi-Fi signals flying around here.
There's a lot
wide area Wi-Fi.
There is a lot here. Yeah. So
it's not everyone's working on wide area Wi-Fi here.
Yes, 2.4.
Yeah, so I think that's what's probably interfering with it.
Take it out somewhere.
Yeah, I need to take it out somewhere.
I'll have to get my one back or get another one. I might get another one.
Yeah, what are you going to get? Because I've got the Mavic Mini.
Yeah.
DJI Mavic Mini, and I've got to say, it's really good. It's for what I bought it for, it's ideal, to be honest with you.
Well, they are. They're a great little hobby. And it's nice to get another, when you're flying them.
But I've got to say, that Phantom that you've got is a lot more stable.
Yeah, I know. Well,
it's a lot more stable than the Mavic Mini. Because the Mavic Mini is about the size of the battery from the Phantom.
I know, but the Phantom, it's like a cab. It's like the difference between driving a cab and a car.
Yeah.
It is as you say. It's sturdy. It's idiot-proof. I mean, if I can do it. The kids are brilliant on it because they're used to all them PlayStation things and they got them dexterity with the ability to fly. But no, I've done some good ones from France and stuff. And
Ross hasn't made a video for a while. I don't know what's happened to him lately.
Last one I see, he's in England and he's driving. He's over here for a couple of weeks. He had his COVID jab, and he's just in for the next couple of weeks. He's in the UK, just running up to the ports.
Oh right,
so he's keeping busy, keeping well.
Yeah, good.
As I say,
so give him a follow and a subscribe on his YouTube channel because I like Ross. I think he's a really nice guy. Ross.
Well, he's coming on the show.
He did ages ago.
And he's talking about someone who's done weight.
Yeah,
I mean, he
has lost a bit of weight, hasn't he? I mean, he calls himself the fat cabbie, but
it's like it's a throwback to when times of when he was a bit more portly.
Yeah, a bit more portly.
Yeah, don't like.
Talking of YouTube, another cab driver that's doing really well on YouTube, I'm going to give a mention this week, is Tom the Taxi Driver.
Right.
If you've watched Tom the Taxi Driver's videos, if you haven't watched them, have a look up on YouTube and look up Tom the Taxi Driver. On Twitter, he's Tom.Taxi Driver, as in spelled the word Tom, TOMDOT, taxi.
Right.
Tom.Taxi. On YouTube, he's Tom the Taxi Driver. And he's got about 2,700 subscribers now. He's doing really well, and his videos seem to be. And if you look at the thing that I really like is you look at his first videos he's done compared to the ones he's doing now, and the way he's improved with his videos. It's really, really good.
It's nice to watch them. I can't before say that. The transition from one from the early days and then later on picking up, which is the complete reverse for our shows.
Yeah, because if you listen to the first ones, they're really, really good. Yeah, and they've just got worse as they've gone on. And
they've splintered off into other little hidden podcasts, which no one knows what they are.
Yeah, but we won't mention that. We might post that later on Twitter.
It's funny. It's funny, but it's not for the
faint-hearted.
Definitely, it would definitely come with a Mary Whitehouse disapproval.
Yeah, definitely. And if it was on the radio, it'd be banned.
Absolutely.
It would definitely be bad.
Yeah, but other than that, it's good to hear Dale's little ditty.
Yeah, definitely good to hear that.
And obviously, she done a brilliant podcast. She was on television the other day.
Yeah,
obviously,
some Australian news channel.
Yeah, not just on what she was mentioning.
Yeah. So have a look at that. You know, she links everything on her YouTube channel, which is Dale Forward, and it's well worth a look. Especially if you're a vegan as well, because she does do a lot of vegan cooking stuff on there as well.
Yeah, it was for an Australian television company called SBS.
Not I'm vegan. I couldn't just live on plants.
No, that's what I'm saying. If
I like a bit of bacon and pie and mash.
Yeah.
And the one thing we've got to start doing again is the pie and mash club. Once the lockdown finishes, we're going to start the pie and mash club again. And we're going to start visiting pie and mash shops again, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's one open just down the road from Dan the Plan, where he lives.
In Redhill?
Dan the Plan, yeah. No, he lives in Croydon. There's one open in Croydon. Okay. There was a pub near Redhill that did pie and mash, but they got it from Armand's and stuck it in the microwave, and it was a bit.
Yeah. As I've said before, I didn't get into pie and mash until
you started smoking at 50. Really.
Yeah, till way into my 30. I was married and kids and everything. That didn't work out, so I married an adult. No, sorry. The old ones.
Sound like Jonathan Ross now.
No, Jonathan Ross. The Wegged Rascal and Where the Wegged Walk.
Yeah,
and that's an easy rim to say. Yeah. I never got into pie and mash until I was well in.
I used to have it when I was a kid. Loved pie and mash. Used to go to Burt's in Peckham Park Road. For any of you that remember Burt's, Burt's in Peckham Park Road. There used to be one in Southwark Park Road as well.
Oh, right.
Lou Farrer's they used to be called.
You might.
That's long gone. Burt's is long gone. The other Burt's down the Old Kent Road is gone. All of these pie and mash shops are closing down. In actual fact, the one we go to a lot in Welling, they were thinking of retiring and selling up, but obviously the pandemic came and they took it off the market at the moment, so they're still there and still doing takeaways at the moment.
Which is good. You know, but it's wholesome. I normally only have more mashed potato, a couple of double mash and a pie and a bit of liquor, but hot chilli sauce.
Hot chili vinegar.
Chili vinegar. You know, that's what I'm saying. See, I'm not even I'm not even au fait with the word, the terminology.
Just before the lockdown in November, or was it just after that, before Christmas, I went in there and she said, "Here, try this vinegar. I've just made a new batch of chili vinegar." Yeah. She said, "I've made it a little bit stronger." Beautiful. So I tried it, and afterwards she said to me, "What was that like?" I went, "Well, I put it on my pie and mash, and when I was eating it, it tasted like any other chili vinegar." I said, like a bit of pie, a bit of mash, put it in my mouth, it swallowed. I said, then about 3 or 4 seconds later, it was like an explosion in my mouth. Yeah. I said, it was like my head was going to burst into flames.
Beautiful.
And she went, "Oh, I better take that off the tables then." She said, "It sounds like it's a bit too strong."
It's spiteful. Double.
It was a bit spiteful. It was like
double spiteful.
It was like an incendiary bomb, you know, one that you sort of goes in and then explodes like 30 seconds later or a minute later.
I'm familiar with the product,
Yeah, it's
I'm familiar with Alessandro devices ain't but it was very familiar with them,
Yeah, she took it off the table. She wasn't saying she might kill someone.
Well, Imagine that.
Yeah,
died as a result of chili
poisoning. Chili explosion. Yeah.
But it'd be nice to get back to the food, pie and mash, and
definitely.
Keeping fit and all that. So thank you, Dal.
Yeah. Some sad news this week. The magical taxi tour to Disneyland in Paris has been cancelled. For 2021. The committee were hoping and were planning to run the trip this year, and I had a very long conversation with both Carlos Oliveri and Phil Davis when I phoned them to see how they both were. Phil was really, really concerned with taking children with suppressed immune systems over to France, and then when France went into another lockdown, he said to me he was really worried about taking the children over there because of the third wave of coronavirus.
Well, obviously you've got to do a risk assessment on it.
Yeah. And also, Disney were asking to reduce the numbers that we were taking, and as he said, even if we reduce the cabs, the support staff, doctors, nurses, AA and everybody else, still wouldn't reduce the numbers significantly. Also, he was concerned about social distancing from the children in the Disney park.
Well, because effectively it's two different bubbles, isn't it?
Yeah, he said, you know, he was really concerned about the social distancing in the park, and he didn't think that there would be much social distancing within Disneyland Park. And they made the decision, because they had to make a decision by a certain date so that they could get all of the deposits back, because they were allowed to get the deposits back. Otherwise, if they'd left it any longer and then decided that they was going to cancel, they would have lost all the money. So they've made the decision that for 2021 that they decided to cancel this year's trip, basically in the interests of the children and everybody else that was going, really, because you don't want to build up everyone's hopes, and this is the reason. Those of you, I mean, I always used to keep it under the radar that I run the Facebook group and everything else, until Mac the Cab very kindly let it out
inadvertently. Freud, you know, it's just one of them things. You know.
I didn't want to sort of start building things up for the trip this year on Facebook and that, and to disappoint children that were hoping to go.
Yeah.
And also, you don't want to build up the hopes of children that are hoping to go and then to let them down at the last minute.
Yeah.
So I think, in my personal opinion, and it's only my honest opinion, I think they made the right decision not to go this year. They've already announced a date for 2022, which is going to be in September 2022. And let's hope that by then we can go as normal.
Yeah.
And take the full trip, the full amount of cabs, which is between 90 and 100 taxis to Disneyland in Paris. I don't know how many cab drivers will be in a financial position to be able
That's
to
the other thing,
take time off and go. That only time will tell whether, you know, who will be able to be in that position to go, and whether there'll be the number of vehicles available to go as well.
That's the other thing. Because irrespective of the situation we find ourselves in at the moment, and there's a lot of unknowns about the future, we've still got a plan for the future.
Oh, yeah.
You know, or even if that doesn't work out, then hey, you know, but we can only work with what we can work with.
Yeah, definitely.
Or project what we. So it's sometimes worth, yes, although in this current era of uncertainties, but we still got to look forward. You still got to live your life. I mean, it's funny. Someone put on Facebook the other week. It's been a year now since we all become so scared of dying that we actually stopped living. And to some extent, that's quite true. I mean, it's like, you know, March 2020 was like the day the world closed down. Yeah. And didn't really, you know, you had a little bit of a glimpse of opening back up again between sort of July and September, October. And then everything closed down again and opened again, and then closed down again for another 3 months. And now Europe's going back into another closure. But I mean, there's always that air of uncertainty about the future anyway. I mean, like even when we were doing knowledge, we didn't know what we'd do. We didn't know what we'd do.
Right, sorry about that. Someone had come to the door, and my guard dog started barking.
Dogs, it's like a hound of the Baskervilles. They went leaping past me here and everything.
So we was talking about the Disney trip being cancelled, and it's a great shame. And also, I don't know whether any of the other charity outings will go ahead this year either.
I don't think they will. They've got to do risk assessments and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the War Disabled are normally in June, so I doubt whether that'll be able to go ahead. The Albany's usually the first week in July, and it's probably going to be, you know, too early because if they plan everything and then the dates get pushed back, then they're going to have to cancel.
Exactly.
The same with the Underprivileged Children's Fund, or whatever they're called now, the Children's Charity or whatever they're called. They're much the same. I doubt if the East London Cabbies out and I'll go ahead because that's normally beginning of June, as July as well. Yeah. So I doubt if any. You know, I'm not sure if there's going to be any charity outings that go ahead this year at all. So that's going to be a great shame. They'll probably all be put back to 2022, I would imagine, unless, you know, someone's going to come across and surprise us and actually do something this year.
We'll see what happens. There's not a lot we can... but as I say, we've still got a plan.
Yeah, you've still got a plan for the future. You've still got a plan for the future. I'm supposed to be going away on holiday in the beginning of July, the first week in July. So
I'm first week of June, I think.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to get me imaginary co-hosting. Maybe I'll get drop kicking for the day.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dropkick? Do you think you can come in for the day and be co-host for the day?
Take my seat.
Yeah. Phil Mac the cab's boots. They're bloody big boots he's got.
Yeah. No, I haven't. I've got size 9.
Size 9.
Size 9.
Yeah, but Dropkick's got size 6 feet.
I know. To think he was a wrestler.
Yeah. He's got tiny little feet.
I know. He's like a little China doll.
Yeah, and
he reminds me of a friend of mine who came to my wedding.
He's pre-vegan now as well.
Funny. He reminds me.
He's gonna do his nut at me saying that.
Ever since I've known Dropkick, he's always reminded me of a friend of mine. And he came to my wedding. John Nixon.
Yeah.
But hey, not that that's relevant to anything but anyone.
So TFL have won the right to appeal.
Yes.
The UTAG landmark victory over them regarding the Bishopsgate, Busgate and street space schemes that TFL run. And before anyone runs away and starts being horrified, all that TFL have actually won is the right to try to appeal. They haven't actually won the right to appeal yet. They've got to go before the judge and convince them that they have a case to appeal.
Yeah,
and then they've got to go back and appeal.
So they're citing that it's got ramifications for other
boroughs and councils and areas in the country.
It's the head that nods the tail.
Yeah.
It was, they were all instigated on the power of what they supposedly said they had. So,
exactly.
So it will go from there. I mean, the biggest thing which I've always said about the whole of this is I don't see how a regulator who regulates us is also in charge of buses.
Well, there is that,
and also road space.
Yeah,
it's and then saying that one, loads of these private companies, because that's what they are, these buses, which have got an advantage over us. The other news in the
before you carry on, I mean, anyone who thought that TFL wouldn't have appealed, it was a foregone conclusion that TFL were going to try to appeal this no matter what.
Yeah.
But they haven't actually got an appeal yet. They haven't even won the right to appeal yet. They've got to go before the judge to get the right to actually go for an appeal.
Yeah.
He may turn around and say, no, you don't have a case to appeal. Because what they're actually going to court for is to appeal, to try to convince the judge that what the original judge said, that they didn't have a right to appeal, that they have actually got a right to appeal. That's what they've got. That's the first hurdle they've got to jump and cross first.
It's just point of order.
Yeah,
point.
They've got to go through that first, and then they go to court afterwards. If they win that point, then they can go to court and appeal. But then they've still got to appeal the case on all 4 points. They've got to win on all 4 points before they can actually win.
Yeah, again. Yeah, they've got to do the whole thing, and it's not. It's just, hey. But remains to be seen what happens with the outcome. Is don't lose faith.
Don't lose faith, no. And UTAG have said they're going to fight it all the way anyway. So
that'll be UTAG and the LTDA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're both joint people in that claim.
Exactly.
So good luck with them. Obviously.
And you was going to say the other big news.
The other thing was Uber have bought out the cab app, the app.
Oh, AutoCab. Yeah, the what's it? The CMA, the Competitions and Mergers Authority, as they're now called. Used to be the Mergers and Monopolies Commission,
which I think's unfair because why is there only one of them?
Yeah, there should be two.
It's a monopoly.
Yeah,
the Monopoly and Mergers. That's just me seeing it. Anyway, so.
I'm cynical, really, isn't it?
Those bits split hairs. But the funny thing is they're going, this is what the Monopoly and Mergers is. Well, they can go somewhere else. There's other apps or other.
But the problem is that AutoCab is used by a lot of provincial private hire and taxi companies around the country.
Because there is that morph between outer boroughs.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone's up in arms for.
We're saying a national thing. We were saying it earlier because obviously the provincials, although they do the 78 Miscellaneous Act, they have got a clear distinction between taxis and
private hire. Yeah.
Now the thing is the thing what I thought, well, it's just more people they've got to pay minimum wage to.
Well, it's not necessarily the case, but I mean, the thing is, it remains to be seen as to whether a lot of these provincial taxi companies that have been affected by Uber will remain to be AutoCab customers, or whether they'll go elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it could be that Uber have ended up buying a dead duck if they all decide to desert the sinking ship.
So again, don't go for all the hype which is in the news about, just...
I mean, the other news was, with regards to AutoCab, was that Computer Cab were considering going over to using the AutoCab system.
There you go.
Which would have been a bit of a conflict of interest. I don't know whether Computer Cab are still considering going over to using AutoCab or not. That remains to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely. But other than that, that's off the graspings of the news which I can think of through the week, off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't think of any other news that's come out this week at the moment.
I'm sure I remember it as I talk about it. But getting back to the work front, yeah, we know it's lean at the moment. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, we'll see what happens. There is a lot of cabs which are in fields, as was outlined earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah. Apparently, the Treasury have also been told that 96% of taxi finance agreements are in arrears.
I can believe
which is not surprising, really. No. And the fact that a lot of these finance companies are now demanding that drivers start paying again when there's virtually no work out there to afford to pay.
And anyone who is working and obviously on low income now, and they're claiming child tax credits, disabled person tax
which
credits,
they should be claiming if they're not claiming.
Absolutely right. If they've got children or dependent, or they've got a disability.
Yep.
Bear in mind also that as from, I think it's the 23rd of this month, which is in April, because don't forget it's April Fool's Day today when we're recording this.
Yeah, and you're supposed to get up in the morning on the 1st of the month, say white rabbits, white rabbits, white rabbits, or is that a myth?
I can't remember.
Pinch punch, first day of the month, and all that sort of thing.
Kick in the eye for being so sly, No, I didn't do none of that. I live on my own.
No, right. You'd have to pinch yourself, wouldn't you?
Enough about my personal life. I wake up, think, who am I, where am I? But there's a single one-off payment, I think, from the 23rd of £500. So that's something to look forward to from Department of Work pensions.
Was that for people that are disabled?
No, anyone on tax credits and stuff.
Right, yeah.
Anyone, so that's a mini cab trade, that's anyone who's working and they're on, and even if they get £5 because their wages is wage relative. Yeah. So whatever amount you're entitled to, it's not a benefit, it's an entitlement you've paid in. So it's an entitlement.
Of course, the other big news was the brother and sister that were selling test results to failed private hire drivers.
I know, but
the topographical test.
Listen, I cannot. And hang on, this case has been out, so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
They had convictions for violence, robberies, and
defrauding, and TfL still employed her on £32,000 a year. Where
I can't even get near it. If anyone's had a speeding fine or they've had any type of incursion with the law, your badge is at risk.
Yep.
But they're employing these people who are getting access to all our data and information. Who else are they giving them selling that stuff to?
I know.
I mean, let's we're quite good credit rating, most taxi drivers and stuff like that.
Well, before the pandemic.
But they're getting all their IDs, copies of birth certificates or driving licences, and they've got that. So there's nothing in a company.
Access to it, and she was logging on to her work computer from home.
So it's nothing to harvest all that information and just sell it on the dark web.
Let's get this right. TfL employed someone who had convictions for theft and defrauding, and for fraud, and allowed access to a work computer from home, which gave her access to.
That's a prerequisite. I think that's a necessity qualification to have to be employed by TfL.
What?
You've got to be able to do all that.
What? Theft and fraud?
Yeah, you've got to have that, because that's what they go on to do.
That's a big accusation.
Well, I'm just saying, it looks like it, doesn't it? Because the amount of...
I just can't believe that they actually employed somebody that had those convictions in the first place and put them in a position, especially earning $32,000 a year.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, obviously they're not coming into contact with vulnerable people and stuff like that, but they're certainly coming in with
someone put on Twitter
coming in with confidential, private information about people.
But then, as someone put on Twitter, surely these people should be DBS checked, same as we have to be.
Absolutely,
because they're dealing with our personal information and our DBS checks and things like that.
Well, they seem to love a wrong 'un.
But then, these drivers were failing their topographical knowledge test, which are apparently really simple anyway.
Yeah.
and they were selling them, what they was doing was she was supplying her brother. with blank test papers.
Who was working for TfL as well.
He was working for Network Rail.
Sorry, same different gravy.
Well, Peter Bendy.
Yeah.
Did I say Bendy? No, I meant Hendy, sorry. I won't call him sir because I don't believe he deserves that accolade. To be honest with you,
he's going to dig the tunnel, isn't he, to Ireland?
Yeah, God help us. So
this stuff would be. I mean, obviously, if you wrote a comedy sketch around all of this and went to the BBC and said, "Look, I've got an idea of this program. There's this bloke who picks up prostitutes
who runs TfL,
right? And
into the ground.
Right. Anyway, he gets all this out, and guess what? He gets a job on Network around that.
Yeah, and then one of his understudies also got slung out and ends up running the London Ambulance Service.
Danny LaRue. No,
Garrett Emerson. Cowboy Emerson.
Oh, the one who said I could go over the M4 elevated section.
Yeah, when it was falling down.
It was an imminent point of collapse.
Yeah.
The same guy who was in charge of the bridges.
Yep.
Which was told, look, they're in imminent,
they're in a bit of state.
And now
instead, what we'll do is we'll spend all this money developing a garden bridge.
That's right.
That we're never going to build.
We won't support Hammersmith Bridge. It's falling down. Oh no! I tell you what we do. We stop everything going across. But buses. But anyway, and now we're in the state where we are now, where we've got Uber boats going back and forth.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll put an Uber boat on and charge people £1.55 to get on it.
It should be free.
It should be. To walk across the bridge was free, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's TfL that cocked it up. They should suffer the consequences.
And they bent over backwards. TfL bent over backwards to get a boat in there to get these cyclists rather than go round the long way.
Let's have a ferry.
Let's go round cyclists. Go round the long way.
Why don't we get the old Woolwich ferries and put them up there so the cars can go across as well?
No, don't let these poor little cyclists. Old Donachachaka, as I like to call him. He loves his Gaelic name.
That's someone who throws sticks at the moon without a doubt in it. He's back.
Donachachaka, which is, just in case for the benefit of the people who don't speak Gaelic, is Dominic Shithead. Right, there's a lovely bit of Gajiva tattoo.
There was a rumour that his wife ran off with a cab driver or something, wasn't it?
Listen,
But then I thought he was...
what? Theatrical.
No, yeah, sort of, yeah.
Very theatrical.
I thought he was. I thought he batted for the other side.
I ain't got a clue. But
there was a rumour going around that his wife had run off with a cab driver, and that's why he hated cab drivers. I'm not too sure. Maybe you'd like to call in and let us know. Send us a message, Donna. Go on.
I don't know whether he's still in Camberwell, but he was.
Prison?
No, he was a fouled.
You talking about Maudsley? That's in Camberwell, isn't it?
Yeah,
maybe that's where he should be.
The Crespney Road, yeah.
He definitely needs help.
No,
he needs help.
I mean, anyone who says that taxis are not part of the public transport services, then the guy's just blinkered.
Yeah, well, let's get into perspective. I mean, he keeps going on about diesel taxis on the road in London, yeah? Now, let's get it in perspective, right? Okay, so as from 2018, we were not allowed to buy a new diesel taxi. We could only buy a zero-emissions capable vehicle from 2018. And yet Sadiq Khan allowed or encouraged a company to use Euro 6 Mercedes buses in south of London, but we weren't allowed to use Euro 6 taxis. No. There are 9,000 diesel taxis left on the roads in London, yeah? Wow. And yet there's over 40,000 diesel minicabs in London. Yeah, so when you're talking about diesel vehicles polluting the streets of London or polluting London's air quality or affecting London's air quality, put it into perspective. 9,000 diesel taxis, of which the vast majority of them are parked up and not working at the moment, compared to over 40,000 diesel minicabs.
Absolutely.
Plus diesel buses.
Yeah, and diesel post office vans, diesel
lorries,
because a lot of them are 12 plate, same as my van.
Diesel,
same as my
supermarket
van.
vans.
Absolutely. I mean, mine's a 14 plate. I can't, with the extension of the ULEZ, I won't be able to go north and south circular.
But all the supermarkets are delivering using diesel vans, Euro 6 Mercedes diesel vans or Iveco vans.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, right, you know, I work for a supermarket, and a lot of the supermarkets either use Mercedes.
Yeah.
Sprinklers, you know, the box on the back, or an Iveco. Right.
Which do you prefer?
Well, obviously the Mercedes is far better to drive, far nicer seating position, far nicer. And I'll go into that, right, because in 2015, the Iveco van was voted Van of the Year.
Yeah.
Right. Whoever classed it as Van of the Year must have received an extremely large brown envelope with lots and lots of purple folding stuff inside of it, because let me tell you about these Iveco vans, the steering wheel is at such a position that to reach the top you have to bend forward. Right.
Not a good position.
No. And so you use the bottom of the steering wheel to steer the van with. Right. And the seat is so uncomfortable. It's unbelievable.
Doesn't it elevate you enough to get you over the wheel?
No, because the steering wheel is like a frying pan, that sort of.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't sort of face you. It's laying down, sort of.
Sometimes these people who design these vans don't actually drive it.
And when you drive it down the road, it's like juddering all. The only thing that's really nice about it's got a really nice gearbox in it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's got 8-speed automatic gearbox, but it's and the gear change is really smooth. But other than that, it's an absolute piece of crap.
Right.
And the box on the back wobbles about all over the place.
Really?
You think when you go around a corner, it's going to fall off.
Oh my good God, it's like very Flintstone.
And it's like you know, like when you're driving down the road and you think the wheels are all buckled on this, and it's like wobble. It's like a jelly mould going down the road. It's like that. And it just made me wonder how they got voted Van of the Year.
Clown car going down the road. Yeah, maybe it was a clown who.
It probably was a clown who voted for it. Yeah. Van of the Year.
You prefer the Mercedes?
Oh, really nice to drive. Really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was also obviously links in with my mind as you say that.
Your mind
is the LCDCs with Mr.
Peter DeCosta's video that came out this week. If you've watched it, I watched it yesterday. Yeah, and I thought it was a really good video.
I enjoyed listening to it from someone else's perspective. Yeah. Which is a joy. I think
all credit to the people behind it. I mean,
absolutely, Grant. I must say, brilliant frontman. He should do some acting. You know that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think he'd make a great actor.
But apparently, he's in Don't Call the Midwife.
Yeah, don't.
But apparently he's had a bit part in Don't Call the Midwife, and I think he's like his hobby. His bit of acting, his escape,
But no,
but people slag him off for it.
Listen,
don't slag people off when they go and have a game of golf, do you? He don't play golf, but he likes doing a bit of acting. So
yeah, well, no, it's all courses for got.
It's like us, like sitting here talking crap.
Absolutely. I mean, there's we got so many. That's the joy of the trade. There's so many people.
Diversity.
Absolutely right. You got Hughes, Mr. Hughes, with his train sets and layouts and stuff like that. Who does the poppy?
Yeah, poppy cabs. Yeah.
I'm now. Listen, I'm not really one with train sets, but I look at that and say, wow, it's good stuff. Like I've got into.
Go on. What have you got into?
I've like little gardens.
Little gardens?
Like in flower pots.
Oh, right.
Like I transplanted a couple of cactus plants, which was in one of the houses, which my niece is, and she's moved, obviously.
So you put them into little pots?
Yeah, and they've come into and I put like little, if you noticed last week.
You purloined some
little stones. Did you watch me pick up some little, and I made a little, it looks really pretty. And I water it and I put a little bit of
peat in it.
That's all, but some moss.
All right.
And in this little pot, and I must say,
is it very therapeutic?
Very therapeutic.
I suppose it's when you get to the age of 60, really, you start enjoying gardening, don't you?
Well, I don't want to go in the garden where I am. Do you know what I mean? I've got my own little garden bit, but they cut the grass. I ain't bothered. But no, I think it's like therapeutical.
Very therapeutical.
Do you know what I mean? It's like when I used to do a lot of work with the mental health, with people with challenges. I used to do a lot in care homes and stuff like that. don't wish to talk about me too much, but I used to do a lot of work in them places like, which is always handy.
Yeah.
You know, I used to do a lot of basket weaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that.
Is that when you was inside the...
Yeah.
You're confusing yourself there, are you? Confusing with helping out or being in there?
No, I'm just saying. No,
Yeah.
I often say. I'll
tell you one thing.
I often say I do a lot of people. I do a lot of work with help. I help with people with mental health.
I'll tell you one thing that Drumslayer always says is the cab trade's a great equaliser. Yeah,
absolutely.
But I've got to say, working for a supermarket delivering groceries is an even bigger equaliser because you meet so many people from so many different walks of life that normally do so many other things.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. It's like, and you're working with youngsters that have never done anything else really than that sort of work. And you're working with, people that have come from really highly paid jobs that have been made redundant and are delivering supermarket.
Well, it was groceries. Like you told me, it was last week's show, I think it was, you said, and I didn't say it, but when I listened back to the show, I thought I should have slipped that in there because I did actually listen to the show, which is very unusual.
Yeah, I've listened to it. I haven't listened to it for ages, but I listened to last week's one. I like the beginning, the track I played at the beginning.
Yeah.
The greatest show, which it is. It's the greatest show.
Well, hey, listen, we can only go by what other people say about us.
Yeah, that's what people have said to us. They've told us we're a cult.
Definitely called me a cult. Chelsea Bridge. Someone shouted at me as I was flying by. Mark,
you're a cult.
Yeah, which I took as
you took it as a compliment, didn't you?
I've never heard such.
Yeah,
but
such an accolade.
But talking about people with mental health issues at this time and stuff like that. It is what it is. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people are going through a lot of pressure, and the thing is to actually talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't be frightened to talk.
I mean, there was the sad thing this
case,
week.
Yeah, of the... Kevin, I don't even know.
They call him... His nickname was the Rat. I can't remember his surname, but...
I didn't know nothing about the guy.
No, I don't know him, but it's really sad someone's got to that point that they felt that they had to take their own life, and our condolences go out to his family and also his friends. He had some, the guy that put it on Twitter had gone to school with him, gone through the post office with him, and then did the knowledge with him, so he must have been really close, and, he must be really feeling it as the family.
Well, what happens in these cases, it's actually called survivor guilt.
Yeah.
You think, why didn't he phone me? Why didn't and then you feel like you're part of why they've done that.
Yeah,
you're not.
And of course, there was one the previous week that done exactly the same. And you must be at a really, really low point. And people know that I've spoke about this before on the show,
which I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah, no, well, you wasn't here.
I know.
And
sorry, I'm sorry,
and I'm
really sorry, Jamie. Just take it from me, will you? That's how I know about the survivor guilt.
But it's. When you get to that sort of point, and
it seems this is the problem: is when people get to that point, it seems rational.
Yeah,
it seems like this is what I would do.
Yeah,
and it's not. You know what I mean? But that's how low people get, is that they actually think it is rational, and this will solve the problem. It doesn't. It leaves a lot of
problems for other people
to deal with.
But then that's not what's going through their mind at the time.
No, absolutely. This is what I'm saying. And people say, they're cowards to do this and stuff like that. Well, it takes a lot to do that.
Yeah, my conclusion was I couldn't do it because I was too much of a coward.
That's what I'm saying. You have to be bright, but you're not. It's something that kicks in your inner you, which just says survival. Do you know what I mean? And this is survival. I mean, look, the reason you are is because you are. You were the strongest tadpole in the race to get to fertilisation. You survived all through your life. You know what I mean? Even being with in the gestation period while you're being born, the mother's body's trying to get rid of it anyway. You know what I mean? So you fought all them battles, and then in life you carry on for all the battles which we all go through. Sometimes, childhood illnesses and stuff like that, just getting up to where we get to. Then we get married, then the pain really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't realise what love and true and happiness was until I got married. But then it was far too late to do anything about it. I was committed to the relationship. What could I do? I'm just, and this is the only way, is some type of, it gets me through it anyway.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of people through it, is have a laugh. Listen, nothing's forever. as bad as it might seem.
Yeah, just talk to someone or phone an organisation and speak to someone. There's always someone you can speak to. Your friends, you may think you don't want to burden them with your problems, but they'd rather you burden them with your problems rather than see what happened to poor Kevin.
Absolutely.
And on that note, we're going to go over to Drumslayer to cheer the mood up just a little bit, and we'll be back after this.
Thanks, Jamie, and Mac the Cab, if you're there this week. Listening to last week's show, Blast from the Past, I was embraced by nostalgia to hear Mac the Cab and Super Cabby Jamie together once more, chewing the cud. I've most certainly missed the raffish, rakish charm of Mac the Cab. As I took an evening stroll, I listened to the show, and as I was back in 2015 when I first heard the then London Taxi Radio duo for the first time, around that springtime of 2015, Uber were already well into their offensive of taking on what Travis Kalanick referred to as, which is us, the crown jewels. With the help of the Tory party, TfL, who were more than complicit in handing over the keys of our hard-earned kingdom. First show I heard was featuring an Australian called, I think it was Russell Howarth, and he'd flown over here and he was going to show us how to defeat the scourge of Uber. He had a meeting with a lot of the trade reps, and I think they threw him out. They didn't want to know, but on that particular show he seemed to make a lot of sense, and I would listen to every other show without fail until round about the October of 2015 I got a call, and it was from Parker cabby John Cox, who asked me if I would like to come onto the show. It was to be the following Wednesday. Now that was my drumming night. I used to play a blues jam in Leighton, Coach and Horses, if anybody knows it, but I had to cancel that because I could not resist the invite from Jamie and Mac. We met for the first time, hit it off. As Jamie and Mark were taking down the equipment, we chatted for ages, and then in the car park we chatted for ages more. And then it was suggested, I think by Sean Paul Day, that I should become the roving reporter. And most of my reports were from the showers at the John Orwell Sports Centre in Wapping. And I'm happy to say I've been part of the team ever since. But the question begs is, how did Mac Cab get to the UK? Because when COVID pandemic started, so I believe he was in France, and all of a sudden he popped up on last week's show back in Old Blighty. So I'm surmising that he had a friend called Serge. I don't know, we'd call him a friend because he was an Uber driver. Let's call him an associate. And this fella Serge used to appear occasionally on London Taxi Radio, extolling the trials and tribulations of being an Uber slave. So I reckon that this Serge has got contacts in one of the migrant camps in France. And that's probably how he was able to secure Mac the Cab a standing only place on a raft en route to Dover, where Mac would have been guaranteed a police and customs welcoming party. I can imagine the other escapees probably having a smattering of English, but still not being able to understand a word that Mac was saying. But anyway, he's back in the fold now, and that's the main thing. President Trump used to rub everybody up the wrong way by referring to COVID-19 as the China virus. And this got me thinking, maybe there is a modus operandi in the way China exerts its influence over the world. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, LTI, London Taxi International, was proud to announce that Geely, or Geely, I'm never sure how it's pronounced, were to take a stake in LTI, and parts would be built in China and shipped over to the UK. Later on, there were instances of engine fires in TX4s. This happened too often for comfort, so the authorities decided to recall all TX4s. They were taken off the road. Not long after, LTI announced that they were going bankrupt. And guess what? Geely, the people that had caused initially the problem, came in and bought the company up. That type of operation may have happened in many other industries that we will never know about, where China got involved, kiboshed them, and then bought them up. So if I expand this hypothesis on a global scale, China surreptitiously introduced a virus that infects the globe in no time at all. The economies of their greatest adversaries, United States, Canada, America, Australia, Great Britain, are devastated. But guess who comes to the rescue? China, where in years to come, the plan is that we all become reliant on exports from China. In the main, I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but that is one that I do tend to favour ever so slightly. I do believe there's method in the madness. Has anybody heard of rapid grocery delivery upstarts? Some of you fellas driving the supermarket delivery vans might be interested in this. So rather than people waiting for a slot that, they can have like 4 o'clock next Wednesday, rapid grocery deliveries can have stuff come to your house within 10 to 15 minutes. Give you an example. You're making a cup of tea and you've run out of biscuits. You don't fancy running down the shop, so you get one of these companies, either Delivery, Wheezy, Guitar, Amazon are in on it, and the big names, Waitrose, are in on it. And they will bring a packet of biscuits round. Now, some advertise within an hour, and others say 10 to 15 minutes. But whereas your biscuits down the road in the corner shop would have been about £1, this time they'll be about £3.50, £4. I listened to one of the executives of these companies, and he was saying that their technology and distribution makes Deliveroo, Uber Eats look like dinosaurs. But what I don't understand, and I'm a simple cab driver, is through the pandemic over the last year, Just Eats, Uber Eats, Deliveroo have been experiencing record sales, yet none of them have made a farthing. Example, today Deliveroo went on the stock exchange, and straight away their share price was sinking, because investors are beginning to realise that modern day slavery doesn't pay. I would like to end this broadcast on a serious, darker note. Back in 1990, when I became a cab driver, we were hit by a dreadful recession. I didn't really know any different because I'd never known what it was like to do well as a cab driver, so I just accepted whatever I took. But there was about 3 cab drivers in that period who took their own lives. One I remember lived in Ritchie Street, just off Liverpool Road, and a sad story I heard at that time was a old boy who was working off the Wimbledon station rank. He'd been doing so for 40 years-ish, and one day he couldn't get on the rank and he went home and topped himself. Earlier on, I referred to the dark days of 2015, but in truth, nothing could be worse and darker than we are experiencing now. And I believe we are getting or seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and I've been so far relieved. So I thought that we'd not lost anybody, but with great regret, I have to inform you guys and girls, and I'm sure some of you will already know, that 2 drivers in quite a short space of time have committed suicide. One a couple of weeks ago by the name of Graham Gallagher. I knew Graham, met him in 2011, and we used to both attend Krav Maga in Wapping. He was a lovely, kind man, very helpful to me. Like most others, he'd temporarily left the cab trade. He was driving an HGV and was looking forward to coming back to the cabs. But unfortunately, that wasn't to be. Today, I saw a post on a Facebook taxi group informing us all that a driver named Kevin Lucas, been driving a cab for 25 years-ish, was affectionately known as the Rat, also took his own life. One of my colleagues knew him and used to play football with him and testifies that he was a smashing person. I want to go off on a slight tangent and tell you, I'm going to come back, but to tell you that once a neighbour of mine was on the knowledge and he was finding it difficult. And I said to him, if you ever decide you want to give up, knock on my door and I'll talk you out of it. When he eventually, a couple of years down the line, passed, he came to me and he said, Mark, because I wasn't Drumslayer in those days, I will never forget that. That is what kept me going. So I would like to extend an offer to everybody who listens to Cab Chat and anybody who doesn't, that if you ever feel so low and you feel so bad and you feel you cannot talk to anybody, contact me, Drumslayer. I'm Drumslayer 2 on Twitter. My name's Mark Turner. You can call me up on Facebook Messenger or message me in any way you want. But as the old saying goes, a trouble shared is a trouble halved. And I will listen to whatever's getting you down. And although I'm not a counsellor of any sort, I will do my darndest to talk you out of giving up, just like I did with that knowledge boy. So on this somber note, I bid you farewell. And in the words of that mad monk Rasputin, I'll be seeing you.
Cab Chat Radio Show. On the air, everywhere.
Around the world from London, we broadcast everywhere. We love you wherever you are. We really do not care. Driving down the Kingsway or sitting on the stand. You think we have it sorted, but we have nothing planned.
Oh, there you go. That was Drumslayer, and he was echoing what we were saying about the
tragedy.
The tragedies of the last couple of weeks. I'm going to pick up on one thing that Drumslayer said in his bit there, and that was about Geely or Geely or however they're pronounced, however they want to be called these days. It wasn't the fires that caused LTI to go bankrupt. I think Drumslayer was slightly right in his assumption that it was the Chinese, it was Geely that forced Manganese Bronze into bankruptcy. Basically, it was when Geely went into partnership with Manganese Bronze, as they were.
Yeah.
They decided that the steering boxes on a TX4, that they could produce them cheaper.
Rather than use the company which was they'd been using.
I think it was GKNs or someone like that, whoever was making the steering boxes. They decided they could make them cheaper, so they made a copy of the steering box. And it was the steering boxes that were failing that caused the problem. And that was basically what made LTI go bankrupt in the end, and where Geely stepped in and took over the company.
Well, I was in Disney when...
when we had to swap all those cabs out that morning.
That morning, just before we set off. And also, because I went out because of someone was ill, a driver was ill, and obviously because of the contamination near the children, so I got pulled in, and I was shacked up with Lorenzo, the head sales.
Shacked up with Lorenzo.
Shacked up with Lorenzo. Listen, there's only Lorenzo and one other bodybuilding type bloke I ever lived with, and lived with, and everyone and they couldn't accept it that two men lived together. They chased him out of town like he was a little pygmy, and but what a lovely guy, what a lovely body. But other than that, people just don't understand men can live together. Anyway, so I was out in Disney when he got his papers, when he got his unemployment. He got his P45. I had to go on suicide watch. You know what I mean?
That was the second time, wasn't it? That was because it was the first time when you came, when we had to swap all those cabs out. And the second time when you came, when he got his
that was the first time. It was the first time I went was when he got the sack, because it was his mate who was meant to go with. The second time I went with the guy from Croydon. I ended up billeted up with him because the kid who'd never been before, his brother had been, and they shared the same room. He goes, "Look, I'll snore, I don't worry nothing, I don't know, I'll go out, I'll come in at 1, I'll have a drink, now I'll snore. Are you happy with that?" I said, "Yeah mate, look, I'll let you know that I'll snore." He said, "I'll be up at 8 and in the break." I said, "Mate, no problem." So I said, "Look, I'll have to tell you I'll snore as well. Look, I sleep on the bed, I don't get undressed, I'll shower in the morning and all that." I says, "But I'll be up." And he goes, and I gets up at 8, and he was all dreary-eyed. He says, "I ain't slept a wink, you snore, I've recorded you, you're shouting." I said, "Well, I've got post-traumatic stress, I scream and shout." So I said, "Well, I did warn you." You know what I mean?
So it was that caused them to go bankrupt, and then Geely stepped in and took over the company. So, talking of conspiracy theories, there could be something in that they produced a steering box that was substandard and caused them to go bankrupt.
Trying to save money, slightly, everything, you know what I mean? And obviously TFL, or as it used to be called years ago, carriage officer, they did the stringency of the vehicle must be, safe, hey.
But, and
other things, roaming reporter in the shower.
The roaming reporter in the shower.
We used to worry a bit about that.
We used to worry a little bit about that.
He used to get it. He was like, they're doing that advert, like, take 2. Take 2 showers in. Not me. Drumslayer. I'll go through everyone's locker. Do you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what we've got to do just before we go. Right, is the other week, or when I was going to do the show in January that I never did. Dropkick Rick sent in a taxi rank Titter. And so we're going to put that in the show now.
Hi everyone, welcome to 2021. Happy New Year to everybody, and I hope this year is going to be a lot better than the last year. But we'll survive. So I've decided to make a New Year's resolution that I can actually stick to this year, and that's to make sure my jokes don't get any better. So on that note, I thought I'd tell you about a lady that started to take up golf. And she turns up for a lesson, and she's a little bit early, so she decides to have a little practice. But while she's out on the greens, she gets stung. And in pain, she runs all the way back to the clubhouse, and the golf professional's in there. And he said to her, is everything all right? And she went, no. She went, I've been stung. I was out on the greens and I've been stung. He went, tell me, quick. He said, where did you get stung? She went, well, between the first hole and the second hole. And he went, no. He said, if you got stung there, your stance is all wrong. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and you can all expect more of the same next time. So remember to tune in for your taxi rank titter. So this is Dropkick signing off, and again wishing everyone a very, very happy, peaceful, prosperous 2021.
Some extra listeners, cause we think we are great. So if you like our station, then please go tell a mate. If you can get some other pal to tune into our show, we promise we will have a day with ginger nuts and cocoa. Oh, I do love ginger nuts.
I see, there you go. That was a Dropkick Rick with his taxi rank titter.
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 Oh,
We got a jingle for that.
yeah. Right.
Just getting back to something that Drumslayer said about you coming back into the country.
Well, I've been put out of loads of other places before, but he's along the right lines. But
yeah,
he's.
It's funny because we got an email from Serge the other day, and
went on reply to the first show.
Yeah, he wants to come on the show. He wants us to give him a ring.
We had to get.
But apparently he's not in the country at the moment, so we're not.
He's writing. Once we decrypted it, it was written in hieroglyphics and everything.
So we're possibly going to give him a ring in next week's show.
Yeah, see
what he's up to.
See if he's available.
If he's in the country at the time, because we're not spending money funding him abroad. He's not that funny.
No, he's funny, peculiar.
Yeah,
and hopefully, because his wife phoned up once and she asked him where he was, which was nice. I sounded like
I've forgotten about it.
He was a character.
Yeah, and that Christmas show that I did with him, and when that person tweeted us saying, "I think he's a fake." I said, "No shit, Sherlock."
Yeah. Because I think he used to work for Tony Loftus, I think, as a minicab.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think he's got some.
And Toby's.
I think it's something along the lines. He sold his old woman a car.
Yeah,
and
I was going to say sold his old woman.
No, he sold his old woman a car, and it was a cut and shunt, and it was all lovely. But he didn't know until I think it was the Loftus's family went down one end of Clerkenwell Road and the other one went down the other. The kids went down the back, down Terminus, wherever, what happened. But I know so don't, if we get him in on the show, obviously not with Tony, because I think them two have got bad blood somewhere. So I hear.
But yeah, talking about how you got back in the country, you was actually back before the show.
I was.
You escaped during the previous lockdown.
Listen, I've been in and out of borders, cross borders. It's been like I've been like a commando Apache.
Yeah, and I didn't realise that Mark had been coming on the show since 2015.
How I remember is because it was in his early days where he donated 20 quid to get my eyebrows shaved. So that's why I've got memories of that. So it's singed.
Mark, do you want to donate some money so he can go and get his haircut?
No, listen, I get pension rates now. I get pension rates, so...
AP rates?
Yeah, AP rates.
Yeah, but you've got to wait for the barbers to open.
Yeah, but listen...
When are they opening up again, barbers?
Next week. Listen, I could cut my hair myself, but, which I was doing.
Yeah.
So,
very garden shears.
I was cutting my own hair. People say, you what? I said, yeah, I'm cutting my own hair. What's the problem with that? They say, yeah, but it looks all right. But I said, well, I ain't got to look at it, have I?
No,
that's the joy of that. So, I just cut my own hair. You cut yours.
Yeah.
Done.
So don't forget, if you want to get in touch with the show, you can do so.
Or we might get in touch with you.
Or as we said, we might get in touch with you next week. You never know.
But if you want to put yourself up for the, you want us to phone you, send us your number. Send us
a direct message on Twitter at CabChat, or you can email us at admin@cabchatshow.uk.
If you think you've got something important to say, you'd like us to...
You haven't even got to spend a penny on the phone call. We'll phone you.
Yeah.
We'll phone you.
No expense spared on this show.
Yeah, no expense spared on this show, even though we ain't got a sponsor at the moment.
No, there's no sponsor, no money, no nothing.
No nothing. We've got nothing. Nothing. We've got nothing at all. But yeah...
got our sanity.
If you want to get in touch with us, you can do so in various ways. Just go to the website. You can leave a voice message on there. There's a voice message facility, or you can WhatsApp us on 07743 161 656, or you can email us admin@cabchatshow.uk, or on Twitter @cabchat, or go to our Facebook page and Facebook us some direct messages or private message, whatever they say. Some are direct messages, isn't they? Some are private messages. I don't know what they are. But Facebook is facebook.com/cabchat. And don't forget, hopefully by next week, we should be on YouTube as well. Now here's a plea. What we need is 100 subscribers on YouTube.
That'd be nice.
We need 100 subscribers to be able to get the YouTube URL, which is youtube.com/cabchat. So we need 100 subscribers on YouTube. So if you can, we'll post a link in this show to our YouTube channel. If you can just go on there and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can get the 100 subscribers, that's all we need, to get the YouTube URL at, youtube.com/cabchat. That'd be absolutely fantastic.
And then it'll all be your fault, not ours.
Yeah, it'll be your fault. And as we say, it'll be the show on YouTube, the same as on the podcast, but without any copyrighted music.
Yeah, so
just some copyrighted music, nondescript music, as they call it.
Yeah, well, we might be able to find some interest.
Like what did they used to call it? Elevator music.
Pipe music.
Yeah, elevator pipe music.
Yeah, I mean, I've never ever got in an elevator. So, I really like that tune. Hang on, I'll go past my floor.
It's like on aeroplanes. They used to play that sort of music years ago as well, didn't they?
I always like trying to figure out what the song is.
Yeah. Yeah, or which song they tried to rip off.
Yeah, well, it might be out of copyright. I mean, but there's so many chords which are interplayed with other songs.
That's right.
Yes,
So if you want to listen to the full show as from next week, it will be on the Mixcloud link on the website.
Show, waltz and all.
Everything. Copyrighted music,
bunions,
the Greatest
coils,
Show, and all that sort
everything,
of thing.
which sometimes adds to the
ambience and the atmosphere.
Anyone else calls it an atmosphere. Do you know what I mean?
That's Russ Sabbath, wasn't it? Well, what an atmosphere!
He reminds me of a cab driver who we both know. I won't mention his name, but
go on, you might as well, because otherwise we don't know who you're talking about, do you?
Jason.
Which one?
I'm sure his name's Jason. That's my problem. Is I'm bad.
Jason.
Yeah, always reminds me of Russ Abbott.
Darren's mate, Jason.
Yeah.
And I've got to give a cab driver a shout out who I met yesterday.
All right. Okay. If you would.
Yeah, I stopped outside Tunbridge Wells. And I'm going to mention something else before the show finishes. Stopped outside Tunbridge Wells at a garage to use the toilet, and there was a coffee stall there. I thought, I'll get myself an egg and bacon sandwich. I ain't had an egg and bacon sandwich for a while, so I'll get myself an egg and bacon sandwich.
Beautiful.
And the girl was talking to me, you've been working for them long? I went, no, I'm a London taxi driver, really. She went, that bloke was here just now, was a London cab driver.
All right.
So he was driving a lorry. for a company called Kelly Communications.
Oh, right.
And so I went up to him and said, she was saying, you're a London cab driver. I said, yeah. I said, so talking to him, and I said, well, I used to do cab chat. And he went, I used to listen to that.
Oh, nice.
So a big shout out to Paul.
Paul, hello, Paul, mate.
Listen, so if you're listening, he said he's going to download and have a listen.
In your Kelly
So
van.
that'd be 2 listeners we got in. Chris Wheeler and Paul.
And, 2
listeners.
Things are looking up.
Things are looking up. That means our listenership has gone up by 100% this week.
There are not many other shows can say that.
Yeah,
no,
definitely not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I've got to say, I got stuck in a traffic jam in Tunbridge Wells yesterday.
Unlike Sean Paul Day getting stuck in a tunnel.
Yeah, because all of the, obviously Tristram's back at school, isn't he now? And,
yes, Tarquin.
And all the it was quite funny, really. It really was funny. So I'm trying to turn left out of this junction. Yeah. I can't turn left because some of the roads around Tunbridge Wells are quite tight. And there's a scaffolding lorry parked on the left, and there's no way that this van is going around that corner without ripping the side out of it and taking the back off the truck. Yeah. So I thought I'd go right. Now there's all cars coming up from my left-hand side, and coming from the right-hand side is a dust cart. Yeah. So Tarquin's dad gets out of the car.
Oh, he's a man driver.
Yeah, Tarquin's dad gets out of the car. Because don't forget, they're all on furlough at the moment.
That's right. Because normally it would be women. Because as I often say, a lot of women do turn. A lot of women do turn.
Turn into men. Yeah.
No, a lot of women do. Women. A lot of women eventually, or a lot of women do turn into good drivers.
Yeah.
Just don't be one of the drivers they turn into. I'm here all week.
So he comes out and he's the typical sort of stereotypical office worker, comes out with his trousers on, shoes, running down the road. Dust cart can't get through. Right,
was he Welsh? All right.
Yeah, so he's looking at, and the bloke that's sort of in front of the van is sitting there. He went, well, I'd reverse up, but I can't because of all them behind me.
Yeah.
And Tarquin's dad's walked back and I said, you need to reverse. Oh, no, we're not reversing. So I thought, where are you going to go then?
One doesn't reverse.
I said, that dust cart ain't going to reverse. He's coming forwards no matter what. Once he gets to you, that's it. He'll stop. Yeah, and they're not reversing back. It was like Casey's call. But it's a sure sign that the schools are back at school. Everyone's going back out because the sunshine. I mean, since Monday, when they announced that people could start going out again and mix with one other person, the traffic has become absolute chaos again. And God knows what it's going to be like in London once everyone starts returning to work properly and once the shops and pubs and things open. God knows what the traffic's going to be like with these LTNs, street space programmes, bus gates and the narrowing of roads and cycle lanes.
And not
God
just
knows
that,
what it's going to be like.
And, we're professional drivers and we keep our finger in, if you pardon the pun.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people haven't been driving as much as they have been.
I'll tell you what it shows as well, because, I think sometimes that, a year of not driving, people have forgotten how to drive.
Yeah.
Or
not necessarily not driving. They might have driven just up the road and all that, but they haven't got back into the full swing of driving.
Definitely not.
And I know, like, when I haven't driven for a while, to us it comes back, it's like riding a bike, isn't it?
Yeah.
Except for it's a lot harder to put playing cards in the spokes. That's all.
Yeah.
But
lolly sticks I used
to do lolly sticks, but it used to make me go faster. I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did.
You just had to pedal harder because of
funny enough, we couldn't afford a bike. I just had a
lolly stick,
a hoop and stick.
No, right,
hoop and stick.
Yeah.
An old wheel off the dump, and I used to run with that, and I'd put baseball cards in that.
Yeah,
but it never used to click. But there you go.
So as I say, it's a sure sign that everyone's getting back out on the roads and the traffic's becoming absolute chaos and people have forgotten how to drive and they think they can drive through dust carts.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the only thing that could fit down this road was the dust cart, because there was cars parked either side of the road, and he didn't have much room either side either. So where they thought they was going to go, I don't know.
No.
And
yes, I was back, but just getting back to you, I just remember what Mark asked. Yeah, I was back actually just before lockdown, because I had to have a hospital appointment, if you remember.
That's right.
So I was back to see what the prognosis was. And what I found was strange coming back, obviously the NHS and masks and everything, they were a bit hostile towards people, not nasty, and everyone was clapping for them at the time and all that. Nothing, personal. When I went in there, there was a line of people, and the woman said to me, I said, here's my name, make the cab, blah, blah. She said, fuck you. And I thought, That's not really nice. Not really
Not
nice.
very
of her.
nice at all, is it?
And I've only been back in the country.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe she knew how I got back in.
So, coming up on next week's show, we're obviously going to have our Drumslayer as normal.
When will this show go out? Because obviously it's the Easter
Every
weekend.
Monday. Every
it's
Monday
Easter
it's gonna-
weekend. So will it be coming out
It'll be coming out on Monday as normal.
Easter Monday?
Yep.
So can I wish everyone a happy Easter weekend?
happy Easter
I
weekend.
hope you had a nice.
And
happy
even
Easter.
though you've had a couple of nice days weather, apparently there's a possibility of snow on Saturday.
Yeah, well, they would have had snow
Yeah.
because we're going
Yeah,
out
that's
Monday.
right. Yeah.
so
But we're recording this on Thursday, so there's a
know.
possibility of snow on Saturday, and well, you might have had snow on Saturday. You don't know.
we don't know.
And it's supposed to be better on Sunday, so you might have had a nicer Sunday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. But
Hope you're keeping up, everyone.
just confusing,
This is like University Challenge.
yeah.
It's like,
So coming up on next week's show, we're going to have our Drumslayer as normal, Dale's Diaries.
Beautiful.
Hopefully a bit from the AWOL Brian Blessed lookalike. Brian Blessed lookalike.
Dan the plan.
We may have Serge Price on next week's show if we can contact
If
him.
we
Depends on where he is at the time. We know what he's doing, but we'll let him tell you what he's doing.
We're working on that.
Yeah, on the
things are in the
communication.
background at the moment, working at that.
Yeah, on the communication issues. I mean, there's a communication issue just with the way he talks
There's
as well.
communication, language
barrier.
You know, obviously COVID.
Yeah.
There's lots of barriers
Lots
in
of
front
other
of it.
things. And also, apparently, the Cab Chat team are going to get together and sing a parody song together and put it on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that, which I don't carry a tune very well.
No,
You know,
not as Dropkick, believe
Yeah,
me.
but hey, listen, I think we're Cab.
Yeah, I'm going to bring my earplugs with me. Ear defenders, I think I'm going to bring with me. I think I need them.
So it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, loads to look forward to. And, when we get the whole team together and when we go down to the planned boardroom and record down there, we'll take the cameras with us and we'll put it on YouTube.
It's going to be anarchy.
You'll be able to see what everyone looks like.
Well, I think they've got a very good idea. Look, the old people, they've seen us on demos and stuff like that.
Basis for radio.
The Bank Junction things.
Yeah.
I was up there on that, and I didn't go up there with my cab. And I was up there, and obviously on the camera, part of the cab, he done a brilliant set up there with Sean Paul Day and
Yep.
Joe Cartwright and stuff like that. And it's brilliant.
So until next week, that's all from me.
Definitely all from me.
Yeah, so that's me, Super Cabby, and Mac the Cab signing off for this week. So if you are out there working, and I've got to say, as Mac said last week, for those of you that are working and keeping the trade going,
Thank you.
All credit to
Absolutely.
you. I mean, it takes some willpower, determination, and some real mental strength to be able to keep going out there and carrying on all the time. And all credit to you. Well done, boys and girls and guys and girls,
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
keeping the trade going and
Thank
keeping
you.
working and keeping going on. You know, I'll take my hat off to you. I really do, because personally, I couldn't do it. And I haven't done it.
I mean, I'm lucky. I'm in a situation where I haven't got to, but that doesn't mean I don't feel. You know, just because I don't suffer the financial issues and stuff like that, but that don't mean that I don't feel for you guys, and that's why we're out back doing this, and hopefully.
And I'm genuine when I say that. I do take my hat off to you. That people like Saul and Tom, the taxi driver that's out there working all the time. I'll take my hat off to you.
The chap I met last night, Jason.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and
if you're out there working,
and even people just popping in, just doing a couple of bits.
Yeah, definitely. So if you are out there working, hopefully it's beginning to become more profitable for you. Be lucky. Until next week, that's bye from us.
Thank you for listening.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.